The mayors of U.S. cities have reacted with outrage as President Donald Trump signed an order to block funding to municipalities that refuse to report undocumented immigrants. The mayor said they are prepared for a protracted fight against the decision. The officials added that they would defend all people regardless of where they come from. Trump's order targeted the so-called sanctuary cities and counties which generally do not comply with federal requests to detain undocumented immigrants. The order claims that shielding the immigrants causes immeasurable harm to the American people. Some 400 jurisdictions are likely to fall under the order, including New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago, as well as smaller cities. To discuss that, we're now joined by Dr. Frank Emspak, who is a political commentator, and he's joining us live now from Madison via Skype. Dr. Emspak, how do you feel about the reactions, of course, of those mayors, and to begin with, even President Trump's such executive order?
Following. For those who know about American history, in 1859, 1860, we had the Fugitive Slave Law, and cities throughout the country stood up to the federal government and refused to, capture slaves. So there was this huge resistance, and I see the same thing. And unfortunately, that was, of course, the beginning of the Civil War. Legally, under the federal laws as they exist today, the federal government cannot take money away from one program in order to force compliance with another. So there's a whole legislative issue here that's going to happen. Secondly, this is like an attack on the major economic drivers of this country. The cities are the source of growth here. And so to suddenly start attacking them in the middle of this makes no sense. But it does resemble the ideas in 1920 when rural America attacked the cities and put in prohibition with the attendant criminal disasters that occurred. So what we have here is a backward-looking and probably unenforceable but terribly disruptive series of ideas. And maybe he's going to do it. But there's no way from an economic or a legal point of view that this can be implemented as he said it would be. So it's a disaster.
Dr. Emspak, we have about a minute left. I'm wondering, obviously many Trump supporters would like such a move on his part. What does that say about how divided the United States is at this point, and the sorts of xenophobia / racism that exists there?
Well, it says a lot. First of all, President Trump lost the popular vote on the East and West Coast. And a lot of the cities that are targeted are on the East and West Coast. So, it's sort of like retribution against people who voted against him. In terms of the other things, xenophobia and whatnot, all this does is it increases the xenophobia, the anti-Muslim, the anti-Hispanic, feelings in this country. Bearing in mind that the largest number of illegal entries to this country come via the current system where people come legally and then overstay their visa. It's not that people are climbing walls or something from Mexico. And so the whole premise of these programs is xenophobic, it's pointless, and all it does is it drives up internal political divisions here. There is no way that this kind of program attacking the majority of Americans, because most Americans live in cities here, and the 300 cities that we're talking about, encompass a good deal, if not 60 or 70% of the population. So you have a system where the president has gone out and announced that he is going to go after the fiscal ability of a majority of this, where the majority of the citizens live. So this is a very divisive and potentially unconstitutional effort.
Okay, Dr. Emspak, we'll leave it there at that point, but of course, as always, we appreciate you sharing your insight with us here at Press TV.